Yo to the yo to the yo yo yo. Got a Polaris Ranger 4x4 500. Let me see, 2002. I think this one's like November 2002. It's kind of later in 2002. Anyways, put it in drive and you want to go, and you know the output shaft from the transmission was spinning, wheels weren't spinning, so I figured, you know, something in the differential was bad, or we had a strip spline. And so what I did was took the differential apart. Very similar to, you know, like a truck. You got your main shafts, which I can show you here in a minute. Planetary gears or whatever the heck those are. You know, the rod, stuff to hold it in. A couple other things for, I think this is for the locking diff mechanism. But anyways, pull it apart. I pull my two shafts out. There's the other piece. Pull my two shafts out. So here's the two axles from the Ranger, and what happened is, you can see in there, splines are all stripped out. All of this, you can't buy any of this stuff anymore. You can't get it. So what we're gonna do is take these little shafts and we're gonna cut them square. And the thought is to use this guy here. We'll see what one we end up going with. But cut a weld, you know, cut this off here, the piece of the spline shaft, put the square one on, and then basically make these ends square so they fit inside that. And I got two different sizes, it's 7/8. I think this here is the 3/4. And we're gonna go and just take it to the machine shop to see which one's gonna be the best fit. And then from there, you know, hopefully we can get another 10, 15, 20 years out of this thing. So I will keep you posted. All right, I am back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm gonna lay these parts out, kind of how they go, and I can kind of explain what happened here. But the parts needed to go back to the machine shop basically to get reworked. They had to grind further down this shaft. You can see the way that arrow is. One had to go 10 millimeters more, one had to go 8 millimeters more. I did that so there's clearance because the outside axle housings, you know, actually pull the axle shafts to the outside, while this is, you know, pushing, or this is stationary per the case half. And if this axle is sticking out too long, the axle housing won't butt up to the differential housing. And I think I have a picture of that. If I do, I'll try to put that in there now. And I'm just going to show just the dimensions roughly. The short one from the end of that new hub to the end of the, I don't know what you want to call it, the bigger diameter of the collar there, it looks like 17 inches. And then on the larger shaft, we're at, I don't know, it looks like 21 1/8. 21 1/8. And then from there, we can see the stub shafts. The stub shaft for the, let's see, 8 millimeter, 10 millimeter. The stub shaft for the smaller side, which is this guy. Stub shaft for the smaller guy, these are the important dimensions here, is about 1 5/8 inches on the flats. Distance from the end to the end, 1 5/8. And that was for the small guy. And then for the larger shaft, we have the stub shaft, and that stub shaft for that one is about 1 and let me see, 1/16, 1 7/16 it looks like, probably a little more than 1.5 inches, a little less than 1 5/8. And so that's for the larger one. And so now what I will do is put these stub shafts back in the diff and go from there. So we're gonna try this. I'm gonna just kind of show how all this is supposed to be assembled. With it apart, I just use some oil, put it on my fingers, kind of lube all the parts, lube all the pieces. And the biggest thing is with this, just again, it all goes together how you took it apart, opposite of how you took it apart. So one piece there, and then this other side can get lubed up. I'm kind of just doing this from memory. I think I have a good idea on kind of how this went, but I guess we'll find out. This piece goes inside of here, but before that, I think the ring gear goes like this. Actually, it goes like this. I think this part goes in here, and then this whole thing goes here. Be like this. And before you put the bolts in here, you can put them in there now, I guess, if you want, even just maybe a couple. Just to kind of keep things straight. It probably doesn't really matter. So then on this side, you have the two shafts coming through the center. And we can take these two gears, I don't know if they call them planetary gears still or not, but they'll kind of go in through the side, and then you kind of will rotate it to get this so it all works. And I think probably the better way to do this would be to snug these up. I put two in there, and I'm gonna just snug them up so it's not all loose and floppy. Ratchet's junk, but it works. So here's what we have. I'll probably prop the side up kinda. And then we'll work on putting these in there. And kind of the way this works, it'd be like this. Actually, this goes in at the end. Yep, I think that's how it works. So we'll put one on the top. I remember now. Put some lube on here if you want. Lube stuff up. Some lube on your other one. And then the way this is going to work, I can see wear marks on the old casting, and I can see these wear marks on here. And I just going to try and get them lined up to the wear marks on the old casting, just so I got the same gears in the same spot. Yep. And so by the look of it, this one will go here, and I put it right in the center, and then I hold this one on the bottom, and again put it right in the center, and then you just rotate this, and it'll feed that through like that. It feeds it through, and you got to make sure it's centered. And then you can push your pin in and everything's lined up. And then you put your C-clip back on this side. And there you have it. That should be all back together. Then the next part will be this stuff. This is your, I think, your diff lock mechanism. And I think this, you want to turn this so, yeah, I think so these align. And this washer too, you can see old wear marks where this goes. But that goes right in here. And I think when you assemble this, let's see. Yeah, it goes inside this housing. Like that. So when you put this together, it's kind of, you can either have it in the housing or have it on here. But just if you have it on here, you know, it'll self-align when you push it in the housing. But just another comment. Put the washer on, and then another clip. That all looks installed right. And then put your extra, that's diff lock right now. And with this slid over, unlock, diff lock, unlock. Put the rest of the bolts in. And then we'll go to the next part. Okay, let's get this thing assembled. I tightened these down about, I don't know, 45 pound-feet of torque, something like that. Didn't Loctite them. I'm not too worried. I don't think it's going to be a problem. If it does turn out to be a problem, then we'll just, I guess, redo this. Not a big deal. Take it apart, Loctite them, and then put it all back together. But like I said, I don't think it's going to be a problem, so I'm not too worried. I think how this goes, something like that. And here's your diff lock, I don't know, cam, if you will, right there. And that's got to sit inside the groove of this thing. And actually, just a note I want to make, there's a bevel on this one side and not on the other. I'm going to double check to make sure it's the right way. So I did check. Bevel goes to the center. This guy here, I kind of marked the case halves when I took it apart. And so see this mating mark. Oh, yeah. Mating mark would be right there. Just to kind of keep things aligned so you know everything's right. And again, your cam mechanism being down here on the bottom. Just want to make sure everything's going to line up. Yep, I think the way to do this is to set this in there, the bevel on the inside. And then you can slide all this together. And if you want, you could put this on the outside. Really doesn't matter. But you get the idea. It's just got to go together. It helps when putting it together, you just kind of turn on the shafts, make sure there's no binding. But you kind of get the idea. It's just got to get together. A few light taps if you need to. Again, nothing real hard. We want to make sure we're not, you know, not forcing anything that shouldn't. Make sure we're not forcing anything that shouldn't be forced together. Make sure everything turns freely like it should. Diff lock works. Diff unlock works. So here, turning the input shaft, both output shafts spin. I think if you hold one, the other one spins. If you lock the diff, put that lever towards the back, you can hold one, but the other one still turns. They both turn forward. So you know it's together at this point. Then throw your screws in there and tighten those down. Okay, there's the finished product. Tighten these down to, I don't know, 30. You could get away with anything probably between 20 and 30. It doesn't really matter. It's not too big of a deal here. I'll lay everything out and we'll see if it's right. This would be the right side. This would be the left side. Got there. Then we'll put the housings over. Much better this time. You can see these all go all the way to the edge. See, before when it was together, the inside shaft was too long, and so this actually ended up being short from the housing. Same with this side. So with the measurements that I have provided, that gives you an idea of what it should be. So yeah, now we'll just bolt both axle housings up, put the nuts on the end of the hubs, and we should have a good fully redone rear end assembly that I'm assuming will outlast the rest of the unit. Now you should be able to figure it out from here. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but you just put all this back together. Nothing really too complicated about it. I'm redoing the brakes since I had all this apart. The old discs were cracked, so I'm putting in new brakes. New discs already on there. That's about all I have to say. So when it's all back and together, I'll show you it working, but other than that, we'll call her good. All right, it's back together with the exception of these lower shock bolts. They had broke and they were all stuck in there, so yeah, I kind of pound them all out, whatever, cut them out. Just need new bolts. Other than that, everything went good. I put a jack underneath the bottom, jacked it up, put the top bolts in, and then lowered the jack, put the skid plate in. New brakes, new pads, kind of the whole 9 yards. All drives good, no issues. Curious to see how long this lasts, but yeah, I suspect probably you know, under normal driving conditions, I mean, it should last another 20 years. So there you have it. And stay tuned for more. If this video helped and you like videos like this, subscribe and stay tuned. There'll be more coming. Thank you.